Hello and welcome to Bluebell Storytime Online. I'm Mandi Cantrell, Youth Services Director at the B.B. Comer Memorial Library here in Sylacauga, Alabama. As parents, we're always looking for ways to direct our children down the most positive pathways of life. And one of the most important lessons we can teach our children is how to be a good friend. Having friends who look and think differently than we do is one of life's greatest joys, and it helps us understand our community more. So I'd like to read Shades of People. This is a book by Shelley Rotner. Have you noticed that people come in many different shades? Not colors exactly, but shades. There's creamy ivory, sandy and peach, coffee and cocoa, copper and tan. There's pink, rose, and almond. Shades of gold, bronze, and brown. Some people have skin that is very dark, and others are pale, fair, or light. Our skin is just our covering, like wrapping paper. And you can't tell what someone is like from the color of their skin. Even in the same family, there can be many shades. At my school, there are many different shades. It's hard to get the right shade when I paint. I see lots of shades at the playground. And in the park, and at the beach too. I see even more shades when I'm in the city. In the world, there's light and dark and everything in between. Great, I hope you enjoyed that book. All right, I want you to be my echo on the song we're going to sing, okay? What that means is I'll say a phrase and you be my echo and say it after me. You repeat it. You ready? I am special. I am special. So are you. So are you. We can play together. We can play together. We can work together. We can work together. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Now I want to sing it again, and I'm going to let you do your part. I'll do mine. You ready? I am special. So are you. We can play together. We can work together. Yes, we can. Great. I hope you enjoyed doing that. Good job. Okay, the next book I want to read is by Janet Mary Sinke, and it's called Priscilla McDoodleNutDoodleMcMae Ask Why. That's quite a name, isn't it? Let's see what Priscilla does. On a moon spinning round in a place far away lived Priscilla McDoodleNutDoodleMcMae, a girl who was common, considered quite shy, till one day she questioned two kings with a why. Now, King Norman would order his servants each day to fashion his hair in a very strange way. They curled it and piled it on top of his head, and Norman, he thought, since his hair was all red, that he in some way was above all the rest. He said, I've been chosen to lead a great quest, to rule over all with my gorgeous red hair, while sitting up high on my red ruby chair. What? Cried the voice of another smug king. Why, I am King Winthor. I know everything. I'm good and I'm kind. People call me a saint. I've ruled through the years without any complaint. And as you can see, yes, my hair is all blue. That makes me much smarter than someone like you. So listen, don't question. Do all that I say, and that includes Norman. He too must obey. And they argued for hours. They argued all night. They argued who's wiser. They argued who's right. They pounded the table, they stomped on the floor, they made such a racket, then argued some more. But those who were present, they heard not a word, for they were all sleeping, not one of them stirred, except for Priscilla and Winthor's baboon, who feared for all people who lived on their moon. Then both kings in their anger drew lines in the sand, 2 lines that divided not only the land, but also the hearts and the minds of those there whose heads were all covered with red or blue hair. And just when it seemed things could not get much worse, both kings called a meeting. King Norman spoke first. Beginning today, the old king cleared his throat, I'm here to enforce a new law that I wrote. A law that forbids any person, he said, to speak their own mind if their hair isn't red. For since we are kinder, much nicer than you, your voice will not count if your hair is all blue. Well, the blue-haired moon people, upon hearing this, stood up and they screamed and they shook a tight fist and made funny faces while scrunching their noses, and all those whose hair looked like red-colored roses. Winthor, he sneered at old Norman and said, your brain, it's all jumbled inside of your head. 'Tis I who will lead, I am king. I decree that every moon person must answer to me. And tensions, they grew in each face on the moon, including the face of one hairy baboon. His whole body trembled, he felt his heart race, because people were screaming all over the place. Priscilla, she felt the whole moon could explode, destroy every family and each small abode. Each side they were threatening, the kings would not bend, and life on the moon could now come to an end. For hate, it would poison the lives of them all, the blue-haired, the reds, and the smallest of small. So Priscilla stepped out from the loud, angry crowd. She inched her way forward. She nodded, then bowed. And then with great courage, she did something fine and so brave, she stepped over each line. Then slowly she reached, she uncovered her hair, and everyone gasped at the girl in the square. For there stood Priscilla. The curls on her head were stunning deep purple, not blue or rose red. The crowd, they stood frozen. What would the king say to young Miss McDoodleNutDoodleMcMae? She was, after all, just a shy little kid, and no one much cared what a little kid did. But Priscilla was different. She stood in the square, now searching for courage to speak for those there. And though just a kid, she was sure of one thing: the moment had come to now challenge each king. She shook. She heard Norman. He bellowed, come here. You've broken my law, and my law is quite clear. No purple-haired person can live on this moon. So pack up your bags. You must leave by 12 noon. Then Winthor so saintly went down on one knee. He sneered back at Norman. He said, I agree. This girl, she must go. I don't like her at all. She's strange and she's different. She's weak and she's small. And so I command that she leave here at once. She may not return, not for 10,000 months. Priscilla stood firm in the warm summer sand while longing for someone to hold her small hand. She needed a friend, and she needed one now. And then he came forward. He gave a small bow. One scared, brave baboon. He would tempt the moon's fate. He leaned, then he whispered, the purple looks great. And those 4 simple words from that simple baboon gave strength to Priscilla to speak for the moon. Your Majesties, please, she looked up to the sky. I have just one question. My question is, why? Why, asked Priscilla, do eyes fail to see the good that is present in you and in me? For though we are different, we still are the same. We cry and we laugh and we each have a name. And all these good people, the red and the blue, should have the same rights as your Majesties do, including the freedom to live without fear, at peace with our neighbor and those we hold dear. The crowd had unfrozen. She'd spoken quite plain, with words that now clicked on each moon person's brain. Why, they now questioned, was purple hair wrong? And why shouldn't all colors of hair get along? Why, they now thought, can't we live side by side, together in peace, with no lines that divide? And why can't this moon be a home for us all, no matter what color, no matter how small? And while they stood thinking, both kings from their thrones now studied Priscilla with moans and with groans. They had no real answer. She asked them again, but this time the question was louder, and then a strange thing, it happened. The red and the blue now asked the same question, and that's when she knew their moon could be saved if they only would try. And so with one voice, they together asked, why? And their why was so strong and so loud and so clear that it shook the small moon. There was panic and fear. The shaking, it spun them, it twirled them around, and they got all mixed up as they fell to the ground. And next, it so happened that red and blue line, it split from the shaking. It seemed like a sign that life might get better. Each stretched out a hand to help one another stand tall in the sand. And since that great day, most who live on this moon, including one special, brave, smiling baboon, have learned in their homes, in their cities and schools, to live and uphold these important moon rules. Be good to your neighbor. Show others you care. Speak kindly. Rejoice with all colors of hair. Make peace as you journey, so all understand that life is more fun without lines in the sand. So simple, these rules. They now echo in places where others with different but charming new faces now travel on moonbeams or sometimes a star, and tales of fast comets bring those who live far. For glimmering out in the dark of the night are joyful new rays from a peaceful new light, a light that now welcomes all colors of hair, with arms that are open and willing to share. And Norman and Winthor now sit all alone, up high on a hill with no servants or throne. They still don't quite get it. They chose not to see the good that is present in you and in me. A rather sad thing when you think it all through. Two stubborn old kings who have nothing to do except to just sit and complain. It's not fair that one little kid with her strange-looking hair, considered by most to be common, quite shy, could make such a difference with one simple why. And now Priscilla McDoodleNutDoodleMcMae now plays with all colors of hair every day, for every new tint is a gift to them all, no matter what color, no matter how small. And so with new hope she looks up to the sky. She smiles, she's content. There's no need to ask why. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this story. Be checking our Facebook page for our summer reading programs and come into the library and join the Summer Reading Club. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.